What is going on? My name is David Dominic here, and today we're here with another episode, another video. So, I have no idea about my schedule. I just thought about that. But first off, I just want to clarify some things. Because this is obviously a shorter video since I'm only doing 3 days, because I already made one, trying to catch up a little bit. So, I do want to say one thing. I am going to have an interesting schedule coming up here for the holidays, of course. Everyone should understand that. On Friday, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be in Disneyland. And then I'm not coming back until the 20th. 20th, I might make a video to clarify the whole week. And if so, cool. Then I probably more likely will. On the 20th or 21st. But then it obviously gets that crazy season where we have Christmas and Christmas Eve. And then New Year's. But New Year's isn't really big of a deal to me, as a lot of other people. Obviously, it's a chance to celebrate and party and stuff. But to me, it's not gonna affect me from not making a video. I could still do what I want to do, and I'll be able to make a video. I'm pretty sure there's no problem. And it's on a Friday, so the video would come out on the 3rd anyways, you know? So I think that is the one thing, is that scheduling is going to be a big deal coming up here soon. I am probably not going to do the PowerPoints anymore, first off, because I feel like it just takes so much time and effort for a video that it's already pre-done for you. Yeah, it does kind of pain me that my eyes go crazy every 5 seconds, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, it's simple, it's easy, it's done, and you guys can see the little stats. You guys can see their records. You guys can see all that other fun stuff. So that's one of the reasons. Now, I do want to try to get into this as quick as possible because we do have 3 days. I feel like we'll have a little bit of time. But I don't want this video to be over 20 minutes, so I am going to speak fast. I am going to go in-depth. I don't think I'll go in-depth on a lot of games. I'll just probably just keep going. How you doing? Keep it moving. And honestly, I don't even think I need my notebook. I just need it for Game of the Days. And we're going to get right into it. The Rangers beat the Sabres 2-1. Rangers have been doing very good. They are keeping their little their up and down streak, I would say, because they win some, they lose some. They're a weird team. All right, let's just say that they're a weird team. Penguins beat the Capitals 4-2 in an interesting game. And now this game was interesting because you thought at one point the Capitals might have come back. It didn't happen. So they shut it down. There was no comeback. And yeah, that was it. Devils lose to the Predators 3-2. Good game overall, I think. Obviously slow in the first with no scoring, and then they started scoring in the second. Obviously, I think the power play definitely helped the Predators in the long run. Predators are starting to rack up some wins. There is something I do want to talk about: teams that are going up and teams that are going down. Real quick, I'll talk about that at the end. Actually, we'll talk about that at the end. So, because I think we'll look at the standings next, because we haven't done that. So, Avalanche destroy the Red Wings. Not much to talk about. Just Red Wings. No, they couldn't stop them. Panthers beat the Coyotes. The Coyotes couldn't get too much done. They scored in the first period, and then that was about it. There was nothing they really could. They weren't building too much. Game of the day was the Jets versus the Canucks, 3-4 in a shootout. It was a really good game overall. Canucks had a very nice overtime winner. Flyers and Golden Knights. Flyers beat the Golden Knights 4-3 in a very good game. A lot of people thought, oh, are the Knights about to do what they did just a few nights ago against Dallas? Are they going to come back? It was more like the game from the Ducks. They started making their comeback a little too late, and it just, cool, on the record, when you look at it, 4-3, you were that close, but the Golden Knights had like a minute and 14 seconds remaining. I don't know if that's accurate. They had like a minute and minute 30, I would say, left. And yeah, they've done it before, but I just don't think that they would have had it. Game of the day was Jets and Canucks. Senators with a little shocking victory against the Lightning. Lightning is one of those teams that have been kind of up and down all season. The Canucks, or The Canadians lose to the Blues 1-4. I think this was just obviously Blues were just a better team. They scored every single period, and Montreal scored late. Not much to say there. Capitals beat the Sabres in a shootout, and this was heartbreaking because I thought the Sabres were going to win this. I thought the Sabres had this in the bag. It was 2-1 going into the third, and then they tied the game, and then I was like, okay. Where do they go from here? They scored early. It was pretty much even. Overtime was a boring event. Both teams obviously feeling each other out, trying to get the right option, trying to find the right space and the read, and so they could just push and score. But wasn't the case. They couldn't find one. Leafs, and then obviously the shutout. Tough loss for the Sabres. Blackhawks lose 4-5 in one of the most heartbreaking losses I've ever seen. It was a good game, and the Leafs, they almost completed the comeback. The Blackhawks did. Because going into the third, it was 4-2. Blackhawks tied it. There's just like a minute left. There's a minute left, and there was a weird bounce. The goaltender was behind the net to try to play it. It wasn't Fleury, it was the backup. And then he had to jump in front of his net and just try to make a diving save. Obviously, didn't make the save, scored. What an unfortunate way to lose. This would have been a great comeback, but they just failed. Ducks lose to the Penguins, 0-1. I think this was a decent game, but I feel like when you have like the first score is in the first and then it's 0-0, it's kind of boring. It's kind of boring to watch the game, so I didn't really watch it going into the third. But when it was a decent game, many good chances, obviously, but both goaltenders were doing all right. That's explained why the goals were low. Devils and Islanders. Islanders get their first win, and it's funny because I saw something that was like, what's going to happen first? Is the Wild's lead is the Wild winning streak gonna end? The Islanders win a game at home, or the Flyers losing streak end? And all of them ended this weekend. I thought that was very, very funny. But good win by the Islanders. Islanders obviously took the victory. Mainly in the third, or in the second. In the third, they just sealed the deal. That was pretty much it. But Islanders did get their first win. I think they definitely needed it, and especially in that new arena. Because think of it, like expansion teams, like Vegas won their first game in their arena, and then the Kraken didn't win their first, but I think they won their second. I think they won their second game, second or third. Speaking of Kraken, they're down there. Flyers beat the Coyotes to make the Coyotes go 5-20-2 to continue their little winning streak, winning 2 in a row now. So good. Hopefully the Flyers, after being a very tremendous down team, can build themselves up, try to rack up some wins before something falls apart. Power play has been very good for them the last few games. The Blue Jackets in the game of the day beat the Kraken 5-4 in overtime. And now this was a game, if I'm not mistaken, it was interesting because it was 0-0 going into the first, and I was just like, okay, I'm not going to watch this. There's no point of watching a game that's 0-0. But then I said, you know what, I really like watching the Blue Jackets. They're an interesting team to watch. And then I was like, so are the Kraken, so I'll watch it. The Kraken got blew away 4-1 in the second period. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to watch anymore. And then all of a sudden, I kept looking at the scores, and the Kraken were, okay, they scored again. Okay, they scored again. Okay. So then I started watching, and they scored again. And I was like, oh my god, this team might win. They go to overtime and they lose, but it was a good it would have been a great comeback for the Kraken, and it much needed. And I think if they had it, they would have built off of it. Because look at the team's 9-15-3. You know, obviously 9-18 if you count overtime losses as losses. Bruins beat the Flames 4-2. Good game here by the Bruins, playing good hockey throughout, scoring obviously in each period. The Flames didn't do too much. And then when they did, they started it a little too late. So I felt like it was over before anyone, had anything. Hurricanes beat the Oilers. Two really good teams, possibly a Stanley Cup championship matchup. Hurricanes take it 3-1. Oilers have been on the decline. I swear to gosh, their record the other week was like 15-9, and now, or 15-5, and now they have been on a losing streaks. It's the 16-10, and they were on top of the division forever. So they need to fix their stuff because the Oilers need to start scoring again. The Wild lose their first game. I think they had 10 in a row or 11 in a row. I think it was 10 in a row. And the Wild lose to the Kings 1-2. It was a good game. I probably would have given game of the day to this, but I think it was just a factor of I really liked the overtime goal. There was just a lot of scoring, and it was you thought that the Kraken were about to pull off the biggest comeback in their history so far. Stars lose to the Sharks 1-2. Pretty much just got started late. They scored late, and it was just not much they could do. That's pretty much all I could say. There's really not much to talk about. Ducks beat the Blues in overtime. Good game overall, I think. Not game of the day, though. There is something that one game of the day, and I will explain myself. But good game overall. It was nice throughout. It was a slow game at points, but it picked up when the scoring happened, and it was just perfect. Perfect hockey game, almost. Predators beat the Rangers 1-0. Predators obviously building their way up. And like I said, when it's a slow game, kind of like this one, it's slow. Panthers beat the Avalanche, and if I'm not mistaken, this game. Let's see. Yeah, I thought this game was crazy in the third because I was like, oh, Panthers got it, okay, Avalanche got it, okay, Panthers got it. What is going on? I think what helped the Panthers just, they lost it. They lost the touch. They're still a really good team. They're only 18-5-4. So you have plenty of time to fix some of the holes that you have. They're a really good team, but I think the Avalanche was the better team here. Just scoring-wise and defensive-wise. Game of the day does go to the Knights and the Wild. I am not a guy that likes to, as I told you guys last video, I don't like giving the game of the day to the Golden Knights because I feel like it's biased. But it's true, though. This game, I think, deserves game of the day because both teams played very, very well. And it was interesting. I thought it was such an interesting game. I think the scoring difference would have been totally different, by the way. If it was, I think, if I remember correctly, this game probably would have been 3-6. Probably, because Leonard let in the last goal was awful. And it's the second one he's let in like that this year, where it's going far right, and he goes for it, he catches it, and he doesn't get all of it or something, and it just goes right over his glove, it hits his shoulder, and goes in. Those are awful goals, obviously. Sometimes I feel like a lot of goaltenders, I get when you want to stop the game or slow down the game, I get it when you want to do that, but I felt like Leonard just does it a little too much, and it just bites him every single time. Leonard gets some weird goals. He gets rebound goals all the time. Like, he got a post goal in this one that hit the post, went right in. Craziness. But it was a good game. Knights scored first, and then it was this back and forth battle. Knights scored first, then the Wild scored, then the Knights scored on the power play, which is always good because obviously the power play is not good, so it hypes up the team. But then with literally like 0.7 seconds, it's a 2-2 tie going into the second. That is the I don't know how to call it because I really don't. That is the first time the Knights have let a goal like that pass them in their history. The latest goal scored on them, I guess I could finally say. Which is interesting because in the regular season or in the past season, because I know last season Fleury had that one against Avalanche in like game 4 or game 5, and he like reached over, he tried to get it, and it was like a minute left. So I want to know if that was the previous one, and now this one takes it because it's hard to beat 0.7 unless you get it in 0.1, you know. So tough break for Leonard, definitely. Especially the way the goal went in, and it was just bad. Leonard couldn't get it over there in time. But then they come in 9 seconds and score, and then I thought they were going to run away with this game. The Golden Knights said hell no. They kept tying it, and then it just was a back and forth battle until then. And then the Golden Knights got a power play goal in the third, which helped them. Stayed even throughout the whole game, and then empty netter by Alex Pietrangelo went from one end of the ice, and it was I love empty net goals when they don't just go in. I like when it brings a little drama. Pietrangelo's goal, he was from his zone, and he behind Leonard's net, and he launched it. He just bam, and it went all the way over, and it hit the post, but immediately boom boom went right in. Good game. I thought it was interesting because at any point I think anybody thought like this is a game. Like this, if one of these two teams scored 2 goals at any point, I think they would have been the victor. I definitely think that. I think if it was 4-2, I think the other team would have lost because it would have been harder for them to come back, especially with the other team pressing the way both teams were pressing this game. So it was a good game. The Canucks beat the Hurricane. Canucks are on the uprise. Hurricanes are on the downrise. Not much to say about that, but except that, like, there's teams that are falling apart, and I want to talk about this. Edmonton and Calgary are falling apart right now. They've been on a weird winning. They win some games, lose some games. They're being weird. But they need to be careful because teams like LA, teams like San Jose and Vegas are being really good. And Anaheim, obviously, they're continuously being good. So they need to get their stuff together because soon the Knights might overtake them, and might overtake them, and you're going to be all of a sudden you're going to be looking into the playoffs, and that's not where you want to be. So yeah, teams like Edmonton, Calgary, I think even teams like Colorado are starting to build their way up. Same with Nashville. I think this is an interesting division when you look at it because it's like, okay, obviously Minnesota's on top, but look at who's at the bottom. Like, Dallas, Chicago, and all these teams have their moments. Well, even them, but like, come on. In this division, I think the only team you really got to look out for with inconsistency is Tampa because they win some, they lose some. They never go on long streaks, I feel like. Toronto started off a little slow, but now they're going fast. So I would expect like one of these two teams to fall and these two teams to rise. Same thing here. It's pretty close. Every team has their moments. I think they're fine. The only team that might have a chance that they can get their stuff together is Columbus and maybe the Devils. I would say Philly and the Islanders are pretty much out of it. It's still early. I think Philly could definitely make some wins and start building their way up, but I don't see it. So in the conference, the Eastern and the Western, in the wild card, if we're looking at the wild card races, Colorado, Vegas, Winnipeg, all those teams are looking into the playoffs, looking at Anaheim, Calgary, Edmonton, Minnesota, Nashville, St. Louis. Still plenty of time. I think this is going to be fun down the road, and I wanted to make this at least less than 20 minutes or more than 20 minutes exactly, and that's going to be the case. So thank you guys for watching this video. Like this video if you liked it, comment down below. I'm sorry that I keep being out of breath, but I just haven't had anything to drink all day, and I am tired like a mofo. But thank you guys for watching this video. Love you guys to death. Dominate the world, David Dominators out. Peace.